So the Oklahoma City Thunder have put on a masterclass on how to rebuild a franchise. And not only that, knowing how to draft well. I mean, we got to give them their credit. I've never seen a team draft back-to-back MVPs, as previously they drafted Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. But Sam Presti has put on a masterclass on how to rebuild this franchise. But now we're beginning to see OKC hit that phase of knowing when to come off that sort of Sam Hankey's trust the process system. And for the Philadelphia 76ers, when they were on the whole trust the process wave, the right time for them to get off the boat was when they had Jimmy Butler. They should have traded Ben Simmons right then and there. That's just playing Monday morning quarterback. That moment was the right time for that team to hop off that boat. Now, when it pertains to the OKC Thunder, we see them right now in prime position until they have to start paying guys in 2026. Some of those rookie scale contracts are up. Guys like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren will be looking for a payday. So right now, while they have this 2-year window, very similar to the Philadelphia 76ers, there was a sweet spot that they had. Will they trade the homegrown talent, players like Josh Giddey and others, to perhaps put a more solidified piece next to their core guys like SGA, Chet Holmgren, and someone who could fit alongside Jalen Williams? Or maybe Jalen Williams, that homegrown piece, is someone you might have to send away to get a more polished vet or even a polished big man, which is really what OKC really needs, a big man other than Chet, to kind of solidify this team and bring them up and push them towards that next phase as being that team that could compete year in, year out to make the Western Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. But OKC, right at this moment, they're 6th in offense, 2nd in defense, 1st in three-point shooting, and 2nd in mid-range shooting. I mean, oh, Jesus. You can't plan this any better than this. And when you look at their draft assets, 2024, they have 3 first-round picks and 1 second-round pick. In 2025, they have 4 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. 2026, they have their own first round. Then in 2027, they have 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. And then in 2028, they still have their own first-round pick, but they have 3 second-round picks. And in 2029, they still have 2 first-round picks and 6 second-round picks. Sheesh. I mean, you can even look at it. They were still getting draft picks. They were still able to acquire draft assets. Even when Kevin Porter Jr. got into that incident in New York and the Houston Rockets got rid of him, OKC was able to get into that mix and acquire another second-round draft pick. But that was at the very beginning of the season. And at some point, they're going to have to kind of get out of that phase of just acquiring a bunch of picks. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Sam Presti actually converts these picks, because you can't afford to pay all these guys, especially down at OKC. It's relatively a small market franchise, and we all know for sure they are not going to try to dip into that second apron and pay that tax. But this great position OKC is in is mainly from Chet Holmgren. I mean, this guy's shooting 40% from 3. I think he exceeded all expectations. Even defensively, before he even hits the weight room and fills up, he's kind of doing his thing, I'm not gonna lie. And then SGA, of course, is looking like an MVP. He's been looking like that since last year. He finished, what, top 3? So at some point, OKC is gonna have to hop off that trust the process train and not be like the Philadelphia 76ers and hold on to Ben Simmons way too long. So at that pivotal point, when they lost to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals, the real move was to get rid of Ben Simmons and re-sign Jimmy Butler. But because sometimes a lot of the fan bases and franchises get caught up in homegrown talent, they hold on to that player a little bit too much when the obvious move is pretty much in front of their face. As we've seen Jimmy Butler leave Philadelphia and led the Miami Heat to 2 NBA Finals out of 3 seasons. So once again, it's knowing when to get off that trust the process train. And I understand sometimes it's very hard to let go of homegrown talent, but we've seen when teams do that, they actually reach up to another level. We've seen that with the Toronto Raptors when they let go of DeRozan, because the whole time they had a championship team. They just added Kawhi to that and they got to the promised land. And not only they got to the promised land, they made a historical playoff run. They beat Giannis, they beat the Sixers and the Warriors. That was a historical playoff run. But just getting back to the point, When teams move off of homegrown guys, just a franchise favorite or maybe the fan base favorite, like the Boston Celtics with Marcus Smart, when they got rid of him, now they can actually go up another level. And the other side to that coin is the mistake that the 76ers made when they held on to Ben Simmons and got rid of Jimmy Butler after they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. And they did not get off that trust the process train. So tying this back into OKC, they have a lot of draft assets, way too much. And they have a lot of great homegrown guys. And I believe the first guy is going to be in the chopping block is Giddey. But who knows? They could throw a little mix together along with possibly Jalen Williams, even though that's a homegrown talent, and perhaps get a few more pieces that they can put around Chet and SGA, or maybe it could be another player. But at the end of the day, they can't fall too much in love with homegrown talent, especially while they have this prime window until 2026, where they're going to have to start paying Chet Holmgren. They're going to have to start paying Jalen Williams. And when you tie those contracts with SGA, they're going to start hitting close to that luxury tax. And does OKC have the type of management in that franchise that's okay with that? So this is a very narrow window right now, a nice little sweet spot with plenty of assets, plenty of homegrown talent that's been well developed. And I would say Sam Presti once again is putting on a masterclass on how to rebuild a franchise.